Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
Salex started as a small business with big ambitions. Today, it's a mid-market federal contractor betting on innovation, agility, and shared ownership to thrive in a fast-changing government landscape. Chairman and CEO Travis Mack shares how the company scaled up and why an AI-first culture is central to its future in this episode of Government Contractors to Watch, sponsored by JP Morgan Chase. Travis, thanks for joining me.
I'm excited to be here.
Salex has come a long way from when you founded it as a small business 25 years ago. Was there a turning point or an innovation in your journey that really helped you deliver more value to federal customers?
Well, over the years, growing a small business is kind of an iterative process. And you learn a lot of things along the way. And, we had done very well in the small business vertical. But when we got to that point where we were trying to make that inflection, that turn to trying to be a large business, there were a couple things that we were considering. Were we going to remain a small business, or were we just going to blow right through it? And we decided to kind of blow right through the small business threshold. And with that, we had to do a few things differently. We certainly had to upgrade our talent, which was really important, right? And we had to also look at trying to drive additional revenue streams, trying to create additional value for the federal government. And so we decided on not only were we going to grow organically, we were going to grow inorganically as well, which kind of led to our strategy of mergers and acquisitions and incorporating that into our organic growth.
Well, as you say, growing past that small business to large business zone can be really, really challenging. But you've kept Salex as an employee-owned company. Yes. How did that decision factor in to your growth strategy?
Well, great question. And it factored in because as we were making the transition, we had to figure out how were we going to attract the best and the brightest. And it was actually one of our core strategic decisions on us trying to go and become a large business. And it has been the kind of the pillar of us trying to grow. So us becoming and transitioning into an employee-owned organization was really something that I thought of. And I said to myself, you know what? If you were going to be asked to work 80, 90 hours a week, what would you want, Travis? I said, I'd probably want equity. And hence, the employee-owned building blocks that we utilize today in order to attract the best and the brightest for Salex.
Is that a strategy that you think is sustainable as you continue to grow the company?
Absolutely. We've seen it demonstrated before. We think it's an excellent strategy for us to continue to scale. And for those who are willing to put in that work, put in that extra effort, we think it's something that, because it's not only, the top of the spectrum that's gaining, it's the entire organization because everyone at Salex has equity. And, we want that, we want that community.
So you mentioned a little bit about your growth through acquisition strategy.
Sure.
So you're clearly not trying to blend in. You really want to set yourself apart. How do you set yourself apart from the other big primes in the defense and federal space?
Sure. Well, we think it's part of certainly, being an ESOP, having an equity component. We also think it's from us being unique. We've really embraced automation. We've really embraced AI. We've really embraced security in order to give ourselves a differentiating feel to the organization. And so we think at our size, being agile than maybe some of the larger primes, being more efficient than maybe some of the larger primes, and really just trying to understand what the core problem is and then solving for that. We think that is a differentiating vertical for us. And we've leaned into that. So, we're an AI-first organization building in automation and AI through every single business system, every single component. And then that efficiency, that effectiveness really translates very seamlessly to the federal customer.
So that strategy through mergers and acquisitions can really shake up company culture as you're bringing in different organizations. How have you managed to build an organic Salex culture and hold on to that through that growth cycle?
It's a process, and it takes time. It really does, especially now with all the new changes. With how do you implement artificial intelligence efficiently, bringing in different organizations within one culture. We've launched an initiative called One Salex, really just trying to focus everyone on it's one infrastructure, which is backed by an AI-first mindset and bringing everybody in and just trying to demonstrate the efficiencies of the platform and how we are supporting our end customers. So we take it day by day. We try to talk about what the benefits are, and it's a lot of training, Terry. It is truly a lot of training and a lot of, I kid every single day. Half of my battle is changing hearts and minds. And I got to show up every day, changing hearts and minds and showing the innovation and showing how, at the end of the day, it's actually better.
And you're bringing in folks with some really amazing technical talent, clearance capability, high-tech roles. How are you finding the job market? And then how do you find the integration once you get them on board?
Yeah, well, the job market right now is something that we focus a lot on, right? The lifeblood of what we do is with individuals, with people. And true enough, we're trying to scale that with AI and things of that nature. But, really, it's about us being out there in the community. It's about us being active. It's about us defining and identifying roles that, we can fit individuals into very, very seamlessly. I think we've been certainly very, very forward-leaning with, the mechanisms by which we hire. Traditional ways of hiring isn't necessarily something that is at the top of the mind these days. So we try to be flexible, we try to be nimble, we try to be innovative, we try to do all those things that we think will entice individuals to come and work with Salex.
And one of those things, as you already mentioned, is being an AI-first company. So how do you deploy that kind of fast-moving technology both in Salex and then for your customers to keep them on the cutting edge?
Well, we're not going out building large language models for the federal government. That's not what we're doing. We're going to let them handle that. Ours had to be from a services perspective, right? And so we had to figure out how do we engage and utilize AI from a services perspective. So first, we thought about, hey, okay, what does that look like? So our journey with AI actually started about two years ago, and where we really started to focus on AI functionality within all of our business systems. We took that and then we put in the digital connectors with RPA, with robotic process automation. You got to have that digital connection. And then at the end of the day, trying to deploy that, from a federal perspective and integrating that with the customers and the uses and creating digital workforce agents and the whole 9 yards. And so we've tried to be innovative. We think that utilizing AI gives us an agile advantage, than some of the larger competitors that we have. We're able to move a little bit quicker as a mid-market federal contractor. And so we're excited about, what are those new use cases? What are those new concepts that we're delivering? We're thinking about the work differently, Terry, every single day. And that requires a total mind shift.
Well, speaking about thinking about the work differently, we've talked about your growth strategy. We've talked about your workforce culture and training. We've talked about your tech approach.
Sure.
But the world of federal contracting and defense contracting is changing very, very rapidly. So as you look forward, say, 5 years, what do you see for Salex, and how are you positioning them to take advantage of the opportunities you see?
I think that's a great question, and I'm going to try to pull out my magic ball here, my Nostradamus hat, put my Nostradamus hat on. Difficult question because of how fast things are changing, and what we're trying to do is just be iterative. What we don't want to be, Terry, is late. That is the thing. And we know we're going to have some false starts. We know we're going to not get it right as we implement automation and AI and efficiency throughout the organization. So, government agencies right now want speed, they want agility, they want efficiency, they want security, the whole 9 yards, as they are trying to change how they do the work as well. So 5 years out, we really think that it is about the iterative process. It is about changing how we do the work. It's about identifying where we can drive efficiencies. And it's about how we can, in my thoughts, do more with less, honestly, because that's where we're headed to. So we're excited about building an infrastructure, building a capability that the federal government and government agencies can utilize with some of our technical services, right? We're supplying software development, we're doing test range management, a whole bunch of technical stuff with the Department of War. So we're excited about how do we deliver those services differently? And what does that look like? Because I think that's what everyone is struggling with. What does that look like? And so we're trying to help get some visibility. And we know it's iterative. We know it's going to innovate. We know it's going to, continue to expand. But we just didn't want to be late.
That's a great motto.
Travis Mack is Chairman and CEO of Salex, and this has been Government Contractors to Watch, sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase. For more on this discussion, visit federalnewsnetwork.com and search J.P. Morgan Chase.